Hi, this is Shira Rubinoff. I'm here with Dave Ahn, Chief Architect, Centripetal. Dave, such a pleasure to be with you here today.
Thank you, Shira. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
Thank you, Dave. So we talk a lot about cloud and cloud environments. So I wanted to know from you, how do you think organizations should view protecting their cloud environments from cyber threats? And I'm sure that's a huge question, but you have a lot of viewpoints into that, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
So I think first and foremost, organizations really need to kind of reframe their mindset around cybersecurity for the cloud, because it is really a transformative, different environment. And when you think about the traditional approach of protecting the enterprises on-prem, a lot of the techniques and approaches are well understood, well known, and easy to comprehend. But when it comes to the cloud, it's so complex, it's so opaque, and the ability to have your data, your applications anywhere around the world accessible, being able to scale vertically and horizontally, it also means that it can be a challenge to understand that complexity, to understand the surface attack, the surface vulnerability, the attack vectors, and the complexities that surround how to defend against attackers who are leveraging that very same cloud infrastructure to attack you. So it is a challenge.
Oh, very well said. We had a conversation the other day which we highlighted the word intelligence, and I think that is such an impactful word in many different ways. So what kind of intelligence is available that is action-able for the cloud that may be different from traditional intelligence? We're talking about what does intelligence mean? From the different perspectives of it, it really could dive deep into understanding what we need to know. So I'd love to hear from you about that.
Yeah, so intelligence is really, again, a reframing of the understanding of the cloud infrastructure, the cloud services, and the attack points and the service architecture and so forth. And so when you think about intelligence, you want to look at what knowledge gaps do you possess? And do you understand what it is that you're standing up in the cloud? How are you leveraging it? What security stack you have, or the cloud native services that you're using? And a lot of the traditional techniques or approaches to attacking or defend against cyber attacks, they may or may not necessarily work very well in the cloud because it's such a different architecture and such a different and transformative way of delivering services. And so when you think about intelligence, you have to think about precision. When you have a lot of cloud infrastructure that can be shared, you can have IP addresses, domain names, all these services that could be deployed anywhere around the world. That means that the knowledge of the precision of where that gets deployed, where your applications and your infrastructure are being leveraged in the cloud, as well as where the attackers are coming from. They too are leveraging the cloud infrastructure to launch attacks in order to hide their tracks. So the intelligence is really about precision and being about adaptive and being enabling in terms of using that knowledge to protect yourself.
That's quite interesting and certainly gives a real overview about what intelligence is needed. So let's assume we have this intelligence. How do you use that to protect your cloud assets?
Well, first and foremost, I think enterprises and organizations really need to understand what that intelligence is. So when you think about the intelligence that is really contextual around the cloud, a lot of the times it's new technologies, new techniques, new ways of, implementing attacks that maybe on premises or in traditional sense, they would have worked, but they're just carried out in different ways. For example, access controls, or where data is stored and how application is accessed and how users are permitted that access. They all have a different architecture and different approach. So the leveraging of the intelligence is first and foremost about understanding what you have, and then understanding the attack vectors that are coming in, and then leveraging that intelligence to apply protection in the best way possible to protect your cloud assets.
Let's dive a little bit deeper. When we talk intelligence, obviously that could be a vast amount of information. How does an organization actually need to know what intelligence is important to their organization, specifically themselves, for them to gain knowledge around it and then go around to it to protect it?
And that is actually a big challenge for organizations, because no single group, no single person or a group of analysts for one organization can really comprehend and really understand the complexities behind it. So I think you have to leverage scale. So first, you have to look at breadth of intelligence in terms of, are there sources of data that tells you and informs you about your own usage of cloud infrastructure? And second, you have to bring in that expertise. In other words, instead of looking for tools that simply take intelligence and pull it into your SIM or operationalize it in some way that places the burden on the enterprise to interpret, to deploy, to assess, and to react. Perhaps a better way of approaching this is there expertise out in this industry where not only are they bringing the intelligence and the context around it, but also the services and capabilities and the technologies to actually help you understand and be a partner in protecting your enterprise as opposed to being simply a solution provider.
No, that's certainly very important advice. And of course, I'd love to ask you, one cybersecurity tip that you'd love to share with our audience from your perspective. Certainly, there's quite a bit out there. And the last time we spoke, you gave such great knowledge to our audience. Just any little point you'd like to share.
Well, I would say that, intelligence is really foundational to a cybersecurity posture. And no matter how you use it, what is important is that you be open to new approaches of leveraging that intelligence that may be traditionally not the way you've been taught or maybe you've been exposed to out in the industry, that you want to be proactive, you want to take a leap forward ahead of the adversaries, try to beat them at their own game, so to speak. So I would encourage everyone to be open to these new ideas, to be exposed and become knowledgeable, because knowledge is power and power delivers security.
That is very well said. And I love how you highlighted to be proactive, certainly your cybersecurity posture, look outside the box, find different areas and ways that you haven't looked at before. And obviously knowledge is power. So Dave, thank you so much for your insight and for your share with our audience. And I look forward to speaking to you again real soon.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.